Thank you. Thank you, Brother Jamie. Can someone get in the water? Oh, wow. Just a powerful story, and we all go through different things, and I'm just very blessed by his courage and his desire to just share hope that there is hope in Christ. And I really hope that our church, at least once a month, can share a testimony. I think testimonies are so powerful. We can testify and bear witness to God's power and His work, in our lives. And so thank you, Jamie Jr. and Father Jamie Sr. You must be so proud of him. And thank you for just being here and being a part of the family in this church. I kind of tied it in together. I know that congregational meeting and the officer is very important and everything, but with the recent news, there's so many than ever before. In my 20 plus years of being a pastor, seeing at least 3 pastors, well-known ones, that have committed suicide, other pastors that are no-name pastors, but people write about these things, spiritual leaders committing suicide and from depression, and youth these days with Netflix TV shows that almost indirectly encourage suicide. What was our Netflix movie? 13 Reasons Why, and it's a prevalent thing, youth, and it's kind of sad that sometimes that unless it happens to someone that we know, we think that not my kids, they grew up in church and they'll be okay. Not my family members. We all go to church. We got educated and so on. But the people that are committing suicide are educated and they also grew up in the church. And so I want our church to be aware and be equipped. What are some of the causes of depression and suicidal thoughts? And what are some of the cures so that we can be preemptive rather than reactive and respond too late sometimes? And what are the signs that we need to look for, not only in our own lives, but also in other friends and peers' lives as well? And so I believe that it was, I've been announcing this for about a month, and I believe that it needed to be addressed, especially with our youth group present here. I do want to set the context of today's passage before I read it to you, the actual passage. Remember the name Ahithophel. He's a person in the story that committed suicide in the story that we eventually read. And this is the context, and you need to know the context to understand the text. King David was the greatest king that Israel has ever enjoyed. In fact, he was the one that had the nickname a man after God's own heart, meaning that he was so in touch with God, he was so in sync with His will, that his heart just wanted what God wanted to do. He was such a man, only man in the whole Bible with that nickname, man after God's own heart. But one day at the pinnacle of his success, when kings should be out in war in their duty, he decided to kind of kick back and walk and take a stroll on his castle, in his home. Saw a woman named by the name of Bathsheba bathing, and he should have ran. He should have just said no, but he was tempted. And he entertained that temptation and had her escorted to his castle. Had an illicit affair, committed the sin of adultery. Later on he finds out that the woman is pregnant with this child, and he's like, uh-oh. He sends his Bathsheba's husband named Uriah, a loyal general, very faithful general. And he sends him to the most fierce battle, to the front line of the most fiercest battle that's going on, with the full intention and confidence that he'll get killed. So he goes, his plan succeeds, Uriah dies. Nathan the prophet has to point that out. It was in secret, but God knew. And he sent the prophet Nathan, told him a story, and said, you're the one that stole someone's belonging, someone that belonged. belong to someone else. And he's convicted. And he wrote Psalm 51, created me a clean heart, and he is contrite, he repents, but the consequences of his sin was not deleted nor erased. First thing that happens is his family crumbles. Not only his nation crumbles, but his family crumbles as his son named Amnon rapes his half-sister named Tamar. David hears about it, he's angry, but he doesn't do anything about it. But Tamar has a full brother named Absalom. Absalom is angry and fears that his father did not do anything about it, so he takes matters into his own hands. For 2 years he conspires on how he can kill his half-brother Amnon for doing this to her full sister Tamar. 2 years goes by. He throws a party for his friends. Amnon is there, gets him drunk, kills him. David hears about it this time. He's angry. So Absalom runs away. But David loves Absalom. You know that. Oh, Absalom, how I wish that I was in your place, dead than me alive. So he says, bring him back. Fetch him back. I love my son. So he comes back, but he says, go to your room. You don't tell adults to go to your room. He says, go to your room. For 2 years they don't see each other. 5 years goes by that David doesn't see his favorite son, Absalom. But during those 5 years, he's brewing with conspiracy, anger, and hatred towards his father. And he has this strategy to usurp his throne. And basically, he hires David's right-hand man, his key advisor named Ahithophel. And for some reason, Ahithophel readily and quickly jumps ship. From being loyal to his father, King David, now to being loyal to his rebellious son, Absalom. What happened? And that is the context that we want to keep in mind as I read today's passage from 2 Samuel chapter 16, verses 15 to 23. And the story goes on, and I'm going to provide more context for chapter 17, just one verse 23. Listen now to God's word. Now Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with him. And when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, came to Absalom, Hushai said to Absalom, long live the king, long live the king. And Absalom said to Hushai, is this your loyalty to your friend, meaning my father King David? Why did you not go with your friend? And Hushai said to Absalom, no, for whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel have chosen, his I will be, and with him I will remain. And again, whom shall I serve? Should it not be his son? As I have served your father, so I will serve you. He was like a spy. He was still David's friend. He was still loyal, but he knew that he wanted to protect his King David. So he's infiltrating the camp, and he's there pretending to be loyal to Absalom. Verse 21. Ahithophel said to Absalom, go into your father's concubine, whom he has left to keep the house, and all Israel will hear that you have made yourself a stench to your father, and the hands of all who are with you will be strengthened. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and Absalom went in to his father's concubines in the sight of all people. Basically, orgy, slept with his father's concubines, not his wives, but they were like servants, slaves. That's the kind of counsel that Ahithophel gave to his son, King's son, Absalom, to do to get his father back. Verse 23. Now in those days, the counsel of Ahithophel was as if one consulted the word of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel esteemed, both by David and by Absalom. We skip a couple of verses. Go to chapter 17, verse 23. Let me provide some context there. Story goes on. David's he's on the run. He's a fugitive. Absalom has gained enough of the hearts of the men of Israel to betray, to follow him instead of his father King David. And Ahithophel is being consulted. What should I do? Ahithophel says, pursue him right now. He's tired. The men are weary, pursuing now and you can get your revenge. Absalom says, I need a second opinion. Hushai, what do you think? What should I do? He says, are you kidding me? Your father's a warrior from youth. His men are valiant and experienced. You go attack him now, they will destroy you. Gather up more men. You need more men, more soldiers. And then pursue. And the response of Ahithophel of being dismissed and the advice being heeded, someone else's advice being heeded, resulted in this in verse 23. When Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his donkey and went off home to his own city. He set his house in order and hanged himself and died and was buried in the tomb of his father. This is God's word. Let's pray with me one more time. God, I know this is a heavy topic. And I so pray that if there's anyone, even one individual in this room, that is contemplating suicide, perhaps some have tried. And thank God that I thank you that it has not succeeded. There are those who are struggling with suicidal thoughts. There are those who are depressed and wondering if life is worth it. That I pray that this message would speak to them. Would speak to those who are also healthy and joyful and help. That God, that you would use them to be sympathetic and empathetic. Be sensitive to other brothers and sisters and co-workers that may be going through this silent anguish, private lonely anguish. That we would be agents of hope and change and transformation. God, I ask you, would you speak through me? I need your help. Holy Spirit, guide my tongue, the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart, be acceptable and pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I miss Jamie Jeter, but I'm sure he needs a little break. And, if he was here, I would have shared with him. And, JC, you can share with him. I love rap music. My son's into rap music, Lecrae and Christian rap. And I was gonna actually rap, but he's not here. 40 years ago, the Sugar Hill Gang produced the first rap hit song called the Rapper's Delight. 40 years ago. And me and my Jewish friend, I was 10 years old, and we memorized that whole 15-minute song. I was going to rap about 2 minutes of that. So he's not here, so just to show solidarity and so on. But I want to thank him, thank you for just your courage and for your heart to just share with the body of Christ your story. Before I kind of enter into the passage, I do want to say three things, three disclaimers. Number one, I am not obviously a clinical psychiatrist, and so I cannot address mental illness and these topics. I'm not going to go there. I do know that we do have that component of mental illnesses, and I believe that Christians should seek, if depression is so strong and you're really, and people can't help you, that you do need to see a good psychiatrist. But I also am aware that if you take the wrong prescription, that you can make you more depressed and more suicidal. So you do have to be careful that you get several opinions to make sure you're diagnosed accurately so you're prescribed with the right medication. So I believe that's really, really, really important. I believe Christians should seek out doctors and so forth. Secondly, I'm not a licensed counselor either. But I do know enough and can discern enough that after 1 or 2 sessions with you, if you ask, that if I sense that there's something so much deeper, so much more, there's a root of depression or suicidal thoughts or addiction, and that there's a family history and a family tree of suicide and adultery and addiction and all these things, that I would say, hey, I know some great Christian counselors, professional licensed counselors. Would you please meet with them and see, check in, and be preemptive and proactive? Don't wait until you hit rock bottom. That might be too late. So that's what I would do. Thirdly, if you were to ask me, Joe, did you ever experience depression and suicidal thoughts, I would openly and honestly say, yeah, I've had several seasons where I was depressed, and there were several seasons where I did contemplate suicide thoughts. Basically, nothing major, right? I never attempted it, but I've had thoughts like, God, just kill me, ministry's so hard, shoot me. It was just kind of jokingly, but in my heart I was aching. In my heart I was hurting to the point that I would even utter such prayer. Then I find out that there's a lot of prophets that pray that. So I was like, okay, I'm not the weird one. I'm not weak in faith. Jonah prayed, God kill me. Jeremiah cursed the day of his birth. God, why was I born? I want to die. So there were other prophets like Elijah who prayed, God, just kill me. I want to die. So thank God that Scripture is so real. So real. So in touch with our brokenness, our humanity, and that it speaks and is able to speak into our lives. When we look at our passage, we can see from our character study of Ahithophel. There's once a very famous right-hand man of the greatest king that ever lived, King David. He was so in touch with God, I believe. He was so in sync with his wisdom and his mind that there was a supernatural gifting in Ahithophel's life. That when people consulted him, it was as if, the passage says, as if they were seeking and hearing the oracles of God, NIV says, but the words of God and the wisdom of God flowed from his lips. That was Ahithophel. But why was David's right-hand man, who seemed to be so grounded and so connected with God, so bitter, so angry that he wanted his king to be betrayed by his rebellious son, eventually to be killed by his rebellious son? Why did he jump ship, seemingly on the surface, so quickly from serving his father, serving King David, rather than and then going to serve his son Absalom? Well, these are some of the things that you would know when you read the whole story, that Ahithophel was Bathsheba's grandfather. Ahithophel was Bathsheba, the woman with whom David had an illicit affair. And his son-in-law was Uriah, whom he sent to the fiercest front line of the battle and got him killed. So I believe Ahithophel knew this, and when that happened about 11 years ago from this passage, I believe he hit some sense of depression where his anger and resentment to the person that he served, to the person that he was so loyal to, can do this to his family member. And so when the opportunity came, he jumped ship and allied with King David's rebellious son, Absalom. We need to realize that when we keep our anger and bitterness and resentment towards those that have really, really hurt us, that frozen anger and bitterness becomes toxic inside and becomes destructive. This is why God said, vengeance is mine, not yours. Don't take the law into your own hands. Do not. Because this is destructive for you. Only I can handle that. Only I can dispense justice, the right amount to the crime that people have committed. But when we want to do that in our own, and this frozen anger, it eats us up within. And I believe that's what Ahithophel was experiencing. Christianity, I believe, has such a realistic view of humanity and the heart of each human being. This book, the Bible, teaches us that we are not only sinners, but we're also sinned against. We're not only sinners before God, meaning we've broken God's laws, we've offended Him, we've hurt Him, but others have sinned against us. Just to illustrate the fact that we're all sinners, imagine if God were to YouTube all the thoughts that you have thought, all the words that you have said, all the things that you have done, and put it on the World Wide Web for everyone to look. How many of you be like, yeah, I wish I got 1 billion hits? No, you'd be mortified, like, no, God, please. You'll be so embarrassed and ashamed and guilty for all the thoughts, words, and actions that we've committed in secret. Because why? We're all sinners. But also also the fact that we have been sinned against in the sense that others have truly wronged us. We're broken sinners. And the world's solution always has been, if someone wronged you, with the degree and level of 5, hit them back with the degree of 10, so that they will not retaliate, so that they will think twice before they hit back. That's why we see this sin and being sinned against in the national level. Nuke us and we will out-nuke you. Individually and personally, you do that to me, I'll do you in. I'll make sure you pay. We're sinners and sinned against. And that's the first reality that we need to know when we talk about depression, when we talk about suicide. It was Nietzsche, the existentialist philosopher, who said, hell is other people. Hell is other people. I was fine before you came along. We're sinned against. But in our heart of hearts, we know that that's not how the world was created. In our heart of hearts, God created us to live in harmony and unity and at peace. So we yearn for that. But the solution is not better education, better values of tolerance and so on. It is the gospel of Jesus Christ, that he entered our mess. He died and redeemed and to reverse the curse of sin. And that he's the solution. He's the answer. When we refuse to forgive other people's sins against us, we ride aside, and it damages us and eventually other loved ones around us. You see, Ahithophel wasn't like this before. Before he was highly regarded, most regarded, had the reputation of giving flawless, clear, excellent advice because he was so in touch with God. Of supernatural and divine. We're told in verse 23, now in those days, the counsel that Ahithophel gave was as if one consulted the word of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel esteemed, both by David and by Absalom. So when Ahithophel entertained his anger, bitterness, resentment, strife was filling up his heart, poisoning him from the inside out. There's a verse that I've been just kind of meditating on recently that just kind of blew my mind. James chapter 3 verse 16 describes such a man like Ahithophel, full of anger, full of strife, full of vindictiveness, that this is what happens. It says, in chapter 3, verse 16, in the King James Version, it says, for where envy and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. Check your hearts today. Are you filled with strife, meaning this contentiousness, that when someone cuts you and slights you, you want to outslight them back, you want to outcut them back, you want to outcurse them back, that you just feel like there's this boiling anger within you? Are you a person of strife? Because if so, the Bible says that you will be filled with all kinds of evil coming out of you. And there will be confusion, where your mind would just, from knowing common sense, knowing what's right and wrong, it'll get cloudy, there'll be confusion. And that's what's happening to the man named Ahithophel. There's so much confusion that he joins King David's rebellious son Absalom. He doesn't care if he will be charged for the crime of treason. And he advises Absalom, go into your father's concubines. Your father committed sin in private on the rooftop one day. You do this in public for all to see. What kind of advice is that? Confusion has taken over. His next advice is, Absalom, this is prime time. Seize the moment. Your father's tired. He's running away. Pursue him right now. And you can kill him. This is Ahithophel. All kinds of evil was coming out of this once sought after, once highly regarded, once esteemed godly counsel. When his advice was not heeded, And David's spy, Hushai, who said, no, not now, because you will be defeated later. This was Ahithophel's response in chapter 17, verse 23. When Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his donkey and went off home to his own city. He set his house in order and hanged himself. He died and was buried in the tomb of his father. Notice immediately the calm, cool, and collected manner in which he commits suicide. Notice immediately this calculating, very thought out, planned out suicide. He went home, made his bed, maybe, put his picture frame that was crooked together, put some of the furniture that didn't belong in their place back, and then he hung himself. It seemed like he was in control, doesn't it, on the surface? It seemed like he was doing everything that he wanted to do, that he was calculating and he was in control. But I believe at the end of the day, when someone commits suicide, it is buying into the devil's lie. Saying that you are in control. You're the master of your life. You can make this decision. You see, suicide is the exact opposite. We're not in control. You're being controlled by that devil who is the author of death, who in John 10:10 says, "For the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy." Suicide, at the end of the day, is self-murder. God says in one of the Ten Commandments, "Thou shalt not commit murder." And the person who commits murder is saying, "I don't really care about your law. I'm going to take the law and matter into my own hands. I will end my life." It is self-murder. It is a sin at the end of the day. I'm going to address that aspect that doesn't get addressed much. I make some general observations of Ahithophel's life. Why did he premeditate his self-murder? Why did he become so angry that he followed Absalom? Again, the process of Ahithophel's depression, I believe it took place for 11 years, and it wasn't a sudden thing that he decided to do, but it was ongoing. And whenever someone we know or a famous person commits suicide, we're always asking questions. We're always thinking, why? Why so-and-so so famous, had fame, money, and everything else? Why? Why so-and-so who was going to church, serving God and praising Him, and why did that person commit suicide? Some of the questions that I asked of Ahithophel, and I believe we need to ask of ourselves, are these questions when we're going through depression and difficult times. Ahithophel, was it over this one incident of having your advice come in second place? Was that the last straw? I need to ask myself, do I also get easily slighted and defensive? You need to ask yourself those questions. Was this the last straw after his granddaughter Bathsheba was violated and son-in-law murdered? Am I super stressed and I'm on the edge all the time that little thing can just push my buttons and you go crazy and you respond to people and things in such extreme way? Is that happening in any one of our lives? Was Ahithophel just a very proud man whose identity and self-esteem and worth was based on his reputation and his ego as the best advisor to the king? And when he came second, he's like, oh my goodness, he's crushed, he's devastated, and he wants to end his life. Am I so hung up on my reputation and what people's opinions about me that if they think that I'm this and that, am I going to be so crushed and devastated that I want to end my life? Is that you? Do you ever think such thoughts? A lot of factors, I believe, contributed to Ahithophel's suicide. And suicide, people who study these things and mental illnesses describe that it almost always begins with depression. For some mental illnesses, family history of mental illnesses. Many years ago, on April 8, 1994, some of you may recall, Kurt Cobain, famous rock star, his band sold millions and millions, one of the top hit, shot himself, blew his head off with a shotgun, had suicide note, left his wife and an infant baby. Why do such famous people commit suicide, we ask? Different causes that I've been just kind of laying out there. And if there are mental illnesses in history of that, again, please see a professional. Please see a doctor and get several opinions. But in summary, I believe the two root causes of Ahithophel's act of suicide are these. Number one, unforgiveness. Unforgiveness. And I've been kind of laying that out to you. There's this unforgiveness that he was just kind of entertaining. And it eventually ate him up. Are you struggling with unforgiveness? You see, when we don't forgive someone, we think that we are putting them in prison of our anger and our resentment, where in reality, you are in a dungeon. In reality, the enemy is making you miserable. In reality, it's making you twist, toss, and turn in your sleep. And I think psychologists say, don't forgive because it's good for you, and so on. And I think that's true, but we should forgive because God forgave us in Christ Jesus, that we murdered him on the cross. It wasn't the Romans and the Jews and these people that crucified Christ. It was your sins and mine that nailed him there. And he says, Father, forgive them because they're clueless to who I am, to what they're doing, but forgive them for they know not what they do. And the Bible is very clear, forgive as the Father in Christ, as God in Christ forgave you. And we wrestle with that. Of course, it's not easy. We saw a clip that went viral of the brother who was alive and this female cop shot him thinking that she went to her room but saw this black man and shot him, and the brother was in the courthouse and said, Judge, can I hug this person? I want to forgive this person. I'm not, and we think that the forgiveness is so easy. I don't think it is. I think that's just half of the picture. There was another family member that were angry, that were crying out for justice. You see, forgiveness is not God just said, it's not a big deal. I'm just kind of dying on the cross for you, but I forgive you. No, there was a cost of his life. There was a cost. There was pain and agony. The pain that you and I deserve. He took it all upon himself. His forgiveness was free, but it was so painful, so costly. And it costs you and me to forgive, or else it's going to eat us up. But I believe there's the other root of why Ahithophel committed suicide is because he made people matter to him more than God. He made people matter to him more than God himself in his life. Ahithophel was not always like that, I said. He found divine favor. He heard God and discerned God. That's why he was able to give up the greatest advice. But David became greater than God. As long as David's alive, he didn't want to live. As long as David was thinking this thought and did this, he just did not want to exist. He made David so big, bigger than what he should have been in Ahithophel's life. How many of you? I shared a little funny story of when math teachers and you're Asian, you're not even bad in math, and I let that word just crush me, made me suffer in math for years that I should not have. I made it bigger than God. For some of you, your kids are here, right? Your parents have said something and just kind of devastated you, and you're still trying to recover from that. Your parents are very influential. But we're fallen. We're such imperfect people. There are so many words that I said to my kids, I wish I can delete, I wish I can retract, I wish I can rewind and say, cut, cut, cut. And I asked them for forgiveness, and they readily forgive. And I hope parents, every time you do say something that is not true, that you ask your kids, forgive me. Forgive me. But youth and adults, sometimes we let our coworkers or other people become bigger than they are, and their opinions of you crushes you at times. Do not let others be bigger than God. We are not in control. And even self-murder is not an act of being in control. But our mind just hurt. Lonely is another cause of depression and so on. And I want to share the cure for the remaining few minutes that we have. The story of Elijah, I believe, is the best counterpart to the story of Ahithophel. Elijah was that great prophet. Elijah, like Ahithophel, was famous, was at the top of his prophetic ministry. God used him to perform so many miracles. His super heavyweight battle with the false prophets of Baal and the Asherah, 700 versus 1. Remember that battle in Mount Carmel? Long story short, he says, okay, if your God is real, let's both build an altar, wood, and sacrifice 2 animals. You put an animal on yours, I'll put on mine. You pray to your God for fire to consume that. I'll pray, and whoever's God hears by fire, that's the real and one and only true God. And God sends him fire down. He wins. But right after that victory, right after that amazing victory, he receives a note from wicked Queen Jezebel. You're a dead man. He trembles and he runs for his life. Runs for his life. And he goes to a particular mountain and says, God, I am no better than any other prophets before me. I want to die. Wow. I want to die. Just kill me, God. But part of him also yearns to meet God again. So he doesn't go to just any mountain. He goes to Mount Sinai, where Moses once met God. With thunder and lightning and so on. And as he's there, hoping that God would meet him in the way that he met Moses, or he would die. Remember the story? He's exhausted, so he falls asleep. He's very hungry. Angels come and wake him up and give him angelic food. I don't know how delicious that food is. He eats. He sleeps again. He's exhausted. Angels tap his shoulders, wake up again, eat again. He eats again, and then sleeps again. Power nap. He gets up, and God tells him to stand near the cleft of a mountain, of a rock, and God comes to him in a whisper. And that's how God reveals to Elijah. He's spiritually recharged, renewed. Our vision in our church is the whole gospel for the whole person. God met Elijah physically by feeding him. God met Elijah mentally by informing him, you're not the only faithful one. There are 7,000 others who are not worshiping false gods. Elijah, you're not the only one. Mentally, he's like, oh, thank God, because we want solidarity, don't we? When we're alone, we want to know that others are going through similar things. So God meets him mentally. God meets him emotionally. Gives him good food. Good food. Good sleep. Good rest. I don't know about you, but when I'm exhausted, I'm more prone to depression. When I'm exhausted and tired and burnt out, I'm more vulnerable and susceptible to the enemy's lie that you're no good. You're a failure. I'm more susceptible to that. Physically, mentally, emotionally. 2 more things, spiritually and relationally. Spiritually, God shows up, reveals himself to him, and he is recharged. Recharged to serve God again. Relationally, he was lonely. He thought he was alone. But as he's going out to serve God again, he meets God, provides him with an apprentice that will journey with him, that will go along with him and be his friend and his student and pupil. People of God. 3 things, really. When you're going through depression and you're having suicidal thoughts, ask for help. Ask for help. There's so many suicidal hotlines out there. I'm 24/7. Pastor Howard is 24/7. That's how we went to Jamie Jr.'s home one night when he was going through some dark time. We went, prayed, ministered. We're there. We're here for you. Ask family members that know you, that love you. And above all, cry out to God. God, help me. At the end of the day, we need intimacy with God more and more. John chapter 15, verse 15, Jesus says this to us, I no longer call you slaves or servants, because a slave has no relationship with the master. But I now call you friends. Because a friend, we share everything. And Jesus said, I will bring you into the inner circles. Me, my Father, and the Holy Spirit, I'll let you in. I'll speak to you. I'll have fellowship with you. Jesus invites you into that intimate friendship. That's why his name is Emmanuel, God with us. Not God distant from us, but God with us. And thirdly, keep your eyes on Jesus Christ. Sounds like a cliche, but it really is not. Because it's so easy for us to look at our circumstances and think that they determine the reality and the truth of our lives. There's a song, I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by God. You may feel like you're surrounded by pressure, stress, enemies, but we're surrounded and outnumbered by God himself. You and God is the majority. Peter's walking on water. He takes his eyes off of Jesus, sees the storm, sees the wind, and he begins to sink. And that's what happens to us when we take our eyes off of him. But you know what? Jesus didn't say, oh man, you can't even take 3 steps in the water. He doesn't rebuke him. He doesn't say, why did you do that? He just says, he helps him. Peter says, help me, Lord. He takes him out. Are you there right now drowning in your depression? Are you looking at the wind and the storms of your life and wondering, is it ever going to stop? You just have to say, God, catch me. God, pull me up. When you know God in a growing way, you begin to pray, Lord, don't change my circumstances, but even use my circumstances to change me, to be more strong. When you look at a forest, the trees and the outside of the forest are the strong ones. Because they face the wind a lot. They face the storms of life a lot, and their root goes down deep, deep, deep. He wants us to make us strong, even in our struggles, even in our trials. And I pray that we will be there for one another.